Okay, so picture this. There's a bank, it's making money, it's open for business, it's not going bankrupt. And then, one day, the government just walks in and hands it a death sentence. I'm not talking about a fine or a warning, but a complete, total shutdown order. Today, we're going to unpack a true story that honestly feels more like a financial thriller than a case study. So that's the big question, right? How does that even happen? It's a mystery that really gets to the heart of this huge shift in how the world is policing its own financial system. And the answer? Well, it has nothing to do with bad loans or market crashes. It's about something much, much darker. Yep, you heard that right. Not a bankruptcy, a regulatory execution, a direct order from the government to just cease to exist. This is basically the corporate world's version of capital punishment. And it's a story that anyone with a bank account, so pretty much all of us, really needs to understand. And let's be super clear about what we're talking about here. It's called forced liquidation. The bank has no say in the matter. It's not a chance to reorganize or fix things. The regulator just walks in and says, game over, you're done. They literally padlock the doors and sell off everything for parts. It is the absolute most extreme thing a financial supervisor can do. The bank at the center of this whole storm was MBaer Merchant Bank, a Swiss institution that found itself right in the crosshairs of global regulators, which, as we'll see, led to its complete and total downfall. So let's break down the official case file. The who is MBaer Merchant Bank. The what? They were ordered to liquidate because of, and this is key, systemic rule breaking. This all went down in February 2026 in Zurich. But here's the kicker. Look at the enforcers. This wasn't just a Swiss issue. Sure, their local regulator FINMA was involved, but the U.S. Treasury and its financial crimes unit, FinCEN, were applying massive pressure from halfway across the world. This was nothing short of a global takedown. So what on earth did MBaer do to deserve this? I mean, what's the crime that gets you the corporate death penalty? Well, it all boils down to two little words that have enormous consequences. Money laundering. Now, before we get into the weeds, let's just make sure we're on the same page with this term, anti-money laundering, or AML. The easiest way to think about it is like this. A bank's AML team is like the bouncer at a nightclub. Their job is to stand at the door, check IDs, and make absolutely sure they don't let in any known criminals or troublemakers. What happened with MBaer? Well, they basically fired their bouncer and propped the door wide open. And the consequences of that are just staggering. The list of charges reads like a criminal's dream come true. Their ID checks were a joke. They were doing business with sanctioned countries. We're talking about places on international blacklists. They weren't even watching the money flowing in and out of their accounts. And maybe the most damning thing of all, their own internal alarms were blaring and leadership just kept hitting the snooze button over and over again. But if you really want to understand the problem in one single image, just look at this. 80%. A full 80% of MBaer's entire client list was classified as high risk. This isn't a case of a few bad apples. This was a bank that intentionally built its entire business model on a foundation of risk. It's just insane. You know, the craziest part is that this wasn't some sudden, shocking collapse. It was more like watching a car crash in super slow motion, one that everybody could see coming. The regulators' reports show that red flags weren't just missed, they were actively ignored, time and time again. This disaster was absolutely foretold. I mean, you could literally write a how to get your bank shut down for dummies guide based on their actions. Step 1, build your entire business on the riskiest clients you can find. Step 2, open your doors to money from sanctioned nations. 3, keep really, really bad records. 4, turn off all your internal alarms. 5, make sure the board of directors is completely asleep at the wheel. And the final step? Just hope for the best. It's a perfect recipe for institutional suicide. Okay, so you might be thinking, it's one Swiss bank. Why does this matter so much? Well, because the fall of MBaer wasn't just a local news story. It sent absolute shockwaves through the global financial system. This case fundamentally changed the rules of the game for everyone. And this right here shows you how. In the past, the before, if a bank messed up on AML, they got a huge fine. It hurt, for sure, but it was just a cost of doing business, a slap on the wrist. The new reality, the after, proven by this case, institutional closure. It's no longer about paying a penalty. It's now an existential threat. So, the first big lesson from all this is that AML compliance isn't some boring back office task anymore. It's moved right into the boardroom. As this quote puts it, AML governance is a strategic survival issue. Getting this wrong can literally put you out of business. Full stop. The second major lesson, in our connected world, there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Remember, MBaer was a Swiss bank, but it was pressure from the United States that helped seal its fate. Regulators are talking to each other, they're working together across borders. A problem in your backyard can trigger a fatal reaction from an agency thousands of miles away. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most crucial lesson of all, accountability. The days of blaming some junior employee in the compliance department are over. Regulators were crystal clear that MBaer's board and its senior leaders were the ones who failed. The message couldn't be simpler. The buck stops at the very, very top. Now, I know this might all sound like very high-level, abstract stuff, but it has a direct effect on your life. Have you ever wondered why you need a mountain of paperwork just to open a simple bank account? Or why your bank asks all those annoying questions about where money is from or where it's going? Well, this is why. They are absolutely terrified of becoming the next MBaer. You know, when you strip it all down, the story of MBaer is really just a modern-day fable with a very, very old moral. This bank wasn't shut down because of bad loans or risky investments. It was sentenced to death because of the clients it chose to serve. It was judged, quite literally, by the company it kept. And really, that leaves us all with one final, kind of chilling question. We all worry if our bank has enough money, if it's financially stable. But this whole story proves that's only half the equation. Its stability also depends on its client list. So let me ask you, do you have any idea who your bank is doing business with?
Thank you for watching this lesson. If you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more AML and compliance training. If you would like to earn an anti-money laundering certificate, please visit www.nasiacademy.ca. The first course is free and eligible for certification. I'll see you in the next lesson.